And a very good evening, everybody. It is indeed Thursday, September 4th, 2025, 5:05 p.m. Eastern Canadian time. And check this out, we got a really stormy sky here forming. I don't know if we're going to get a thunder shower, thunderstorm, or maybe just some rain. And what's interesting is for a small second, these little gaps in the clouds, they fit perfectly within the shape of these buildings here. So kind of an interesting little moment there. And indeed we are at the Old Port of Montreal here in Montreal, Canada. And just for perspective, this is facing towards the east. This here is facing towards the south. And here is the north. And this way is the west. More or less, those are the directions to get you sort of give you a reference of where we are, where we're facing. Of course, as I mentioned so many times, when it comes to Montreal, there's not really specific north, south, east, west because of the shape of the island, and relative to the actual compass, it's a bit confusing. So what's north in Montreal is actually sort of west or northwest. Anyways, there's a couple of cool articles online about that, but when I give directions in videos, those are, the general directions. So I'm gonna try to do maybe an hour-long walking video here, and I'm gonna keep an eye on the sky here. But it's been a while since I did, a really good long walking video, and I figured why not do that today. Don't know if we're gonna take public transit because it is rush hour. I don't really like filming during rush hour, but we'll see where things take us. We'll see where we go. Eventually I'm going to do a walking video from the water to the mountain, and there's actually a route that specifically sort of encompasses that theme from here to St. Lawrence River, which is right here where we're looking at. This is the Port of Montreal, of course. St. Lawrence River is right over there, part of the St. Lawrence River. And I was thinking one day of doing that very walk, that route from the river to the mountain. So from the river to the mountain, but we're not going to do that today. For now, we're just going to, we'll see where we end up. I'm going to keep an eye here on the sky. So let's walk towards the storm, the clouds. Hopefully it's not too windy. I do have the image stabilizer on right now, the image stabilizer or video stabilizer setting. Not the super steady mode, because that sort of decreases the video quality. Super steady mode is like very enhanced version of the image stabilizer, but that compromises video quality. So image stabilizer is sort of a compromise between regular video mode and super steady mode. So here are some train tracks. If you were to continue that way, eventually you'd end up in Hochelaga, and the main port area, you can call it, of the Port of Montreal. This is more of the scenic area. You have down there one boat terminal, a shipping terminal for offloading and loading ships, but all the main stuff for loading and unloading ships is down towards the east, all the way into Hochelaga. So this part of the old port, sort of more of a, scenic area. And here's Saint Laurent Boulevard. So what we're going to do here, like I said, we'll walk around here, see what we can see. I'm going to keep an eye on the sky, keep an eye on that storm system, or whatever you want to call it. But for now, we'll walk this way eastbound and see what sights and sounds we come across. Of course, it is September, but September, a lot of folks out there, equate it to getting really cold, and winter's almost here. But with climate change and all that, global warming, I think we can say that maybe October is the new September, if that makes sense. Because it's so warm, it doesn't feel like fall at all. You look back 10 years ago, decade or two ago, and the temperatures back then were much cooler than they are now at this time of year. You know, if it wasn't for the subtle changes with the leaves and whatnot, and you know, the autumn foliage, you wouldn't have even known we were, you know, only weeks away from autumn. So pretty interesting, that fact that it's so warm right now for this time of year. And it feels like every year it's getting warmer and warmer, and in fact it is. The data backs that up. It's been proven. So, you know, I guess more warmth to enjoy longer. But anyways, we're gonna head, like I said, in the east direction, and maybe check out some random things along the way. So of course, this here is the original spot where Montreal was founded, specifically more towards the west. But these buildings, you can tell, are historic. And you can see these ghost signs where they used to have signage from the old businesses way back. You can see the outlines of them, which is always pretty cool to see. I think it's important to preserve that kind of thing, and it's important to, you know, give buildings, specifically older ones, you know, historical type, I guess you could say, status, so that they're protected. I mean, look at here, all the different ghost signs, and you'll see more coming up here. There's a really well-known one that you probably will see in postcards, images of Old Montreal coming up here on Place Jacques-Cartier. Take a peek. Cross over here in a moment. Yeah, for some reason I'm a little stuffed up right now. I think there's a bit of allergies happening. Alright, so we'll cross here. Oh man, starting to really feel, I think it's the wind, really windy right now, and blowing that dust and stuff around. Alright, so that looks like the Westmount Fire Station 76. There's their pumper truck. Not sure what he's doing out here. So of course you got to be careful, you know, when I'm doing videos of the rain. I don't want the phone to get wet, so try to stay somewhere strategically close to shelter. So I'm going to show you guys here. If you're not familiar with Montreal, this is basically the main square of Old Montreal. This is, of course, when Montreal was a very young city, this was the go-to place to socialize and hang out. There were shows here, and there's some historical images right here of this area, Place Jacques-Cartier. So you can see there some markets, trading activity. You got some old streetcars up here, street trolleys. This one looks like it's an even older photo when it was horse and carriage. There's City Hall in the background, and over here there's that ghost sign that I was mentioning, the famous Hotel Nelson ghost sign that's been preserved. So that's been there for quite a while, probably maybe over 100 years now, probably even older. This is St. Paul Street, by the way. Yeah, so imagine this place has been, I guess, the social place to be for hundreds of years, especially when the city, as I said, was younger, and we got those subtle changes to the leaves, the foliage happening. I'm looking forward to fall. I mentioned in a post recently that I would be doing another compilation this year of autumn foliage, fall foliage, so I'll be looking forward to that. I think I did a walking video here one night recently and there was some lightning activity, so I'm not going to go that same way and actually be turning here right rather than going straight. It looks like that storm system, that cell, whatever you want to call it, looks like it's sort of going towards the northeast. There's Montreal City Hall, known here as Hotel de Ville. You can see the wind. I can maybe hear the wind as well, picking up. Temperature right now, I believe, is 25 degrees Celsius. Alright, so we're going up a hill here, in case you haven't noticed. We'll try to see, we'll see if we can go through the new park here, just recently opened up. I'll go this way here, a little bit more peaceful. There's a nice view facing towards the south. If you really look closely, you can see the St. Lawrence Seaway. There's the bridge where the ships go under, that lifts up. That's right near the Victoria Bridge. So that's where the main shipping area is for the boats, the cargo ships, freight ships, container ships. There's one of the earliest skyscrapers of Montreal right there, that beige brick building, as we wait to cross. So we'll take this way here. Do a little walk by City Hall here, on the western edge of City Hall. And there's been some renovations happening here as well. And I'll show you guys Mont Royal here momentarily. This fountain here looks like it's been shut off. I don't know if they're doing maintenance on it, but looks like for now it's been turned off. Usually there's water coming out of these nozzles. And there's the City of Montreal flag right there, if you're wondering. That's it there, City of Montreal flag. Has a shamrock on it, fleur-de-lis, Aboriginal First Nations symbol in the front, in the middle, I should say, representing different cultures, history of Montreal. There's the Quebec provincial flag, and there's the Canadian national flag. So there's the main building of City Hall right there. And if you're not familiar, this was actually the capital of Canada at one point, sort of. This is where they have the Parliament buildings. And eventually Ottawa became the capital. So here's a view now facing, there's you can see in the distance sort of Mont Royal. If you can zoom in here, there you go. There's edge of Mont Royal. Put the wide angle lens on for a bit. This looks like that system, as I said, sort of staying away from where we are, sort of moving this direction. So we'll see what happens. Let's go this way here, check out the new park. Actually, this is closed off, so we have to go this way here. I'm wondering if we're going to get some lightning strikes here, guys. It's looking interesting. Well, we are near Champ de Mars metro station, so if needed, we could take shelter. Yeah. Alright, we'll have to go into the park this way. Oh, look at that sky, isn't that incredible? Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of precipitation. Then that system, that cell. So here's Saint Antoine, Rue Saint Antoine, east. There's a 2011 Novabus LFS. Yeah. So we'll enter the park here. You know, I said that system, that cell was moving away from us, but I think it may glance us. I think we may get part of it. I don't know. Judging by the edges here of this cell. So we'll stay in a strategic place where we have a bit of shelter and we get a view of this cell as well. So I think we're in a good spot for that. It'll be cool to see a time lapse of this thing. Show you guys here. So here's that new park that was recently built. So I think what we'll do, guys, we'll stay outside for a bit here, see if that cell produces anything exciting. As I keep an eye on it, it's piquing my interest slightly more and more. This is going to be interesting, guys. So the question is, do I pause the video and make a new one specifically for this potential storm? Or do I keep filming? I think I'm going to keep filming. Why not? Alright, definitely here it comes. What I could do, guys, maybe stay here for 5-10 minutes, watch this thing progress. Maybe I'll clip this section of video and copy it somewhere and make a time lapse. Because this is coming directly towards us now, I think. It's actually going to be a shelf cloud, I think, perhaps. That looks like a shelf cloud. Yeah, so what we'll do, guys, we'll stay right here and keep an eye on this. And I want to film for about 5 minutes in this one shot here. Like this here. I don't know, should I zoom in or keep the wide angle on? So let's just stay here and enjoy the scene for 5 minutes. If you want to fast forward the video, you can. Otherwise, enjoy the show. Haven't seen any lightning activity. So that cloud you see, that low cloud, is called scud. That's what this low hanging cloud is you see right here. So again, I'm trying to get a time lapse here. This could be the last good storm of the year, actually, seeing that we're now in September. Mind you, last year in October I did get a nice little thunderstorm on camera. I haven't had any alerts yet regarding a severe thunderstorm warning or even a watch yet, but this is turning out to be quite interesting. Wind is picking up. look out here, we're getting a bit of rotation up there. You can see the clouds sort of moving in different directions. Oh yeah, this is going to be really cool. So I thought this thing was going to go north of us. Not going to happen. It's coming right towards us. You can hear that flag getting louder as the wind picks up. We got some debris here, bit of updraft happening, flying upwards, some garbage. Winds are picking up substantially now. Yeah, I feel the cold air. I literally feel the cold air mixed with the warm air. This is going to be something else, guys. This is going to be a good one. I feel it. Might not be lightning or thunder, but we're going to get some good wind here. Again, I'm trying to stay in one position so I could at least get a time lapse. Put it together as a time lapse later on. I think another minute or two and then I'm going to start walking around again. But you can feel the cold air mixing in with the warm air. Every time I get excited that I think we're going to get something big, it never transpires, never ends up happening, but I think we'll get something here. Now check out that up there. You see we got some rotation happening. So I'm going to keep walking around here. I want to show you guys some stuff here worth noting. If you look there, you'll notice that there's a bit of rotation happening. Look at that right there. That's rotation. Now that doesn't mean that's going to turn into a tornado or even a funnel cloud, but that's one of the signs of a possible funnel cloud, which could then turn into a tornado. Look at this here. It's actually making a sort of a spiral shape. Over here we got sort of clearer sky. Haven't seen any lightning or thunder yet. Haven't seen any lightning, haven't heard any thunder rather. Alright, I'm going to start making my way to the metro station here because I can see in the distance it's getting a bit hazy, which indicates that there's some heavy precipitation falling, and that means it'll be happening here momentarily. But you can really appreciate meteorology and storm formation when you're here looking at this and observing it and you're within it. So you can see the boundary over there, and we're directly underneath it now, more or less. It's really fascinating to see the different directions of the wind speed as we observe this. By the way, this is a hospital right here. This is the French super hospital called the CHUM. The English version of this is actually near Vendôme metro station, on the same line as the orange, same line as this, on the orange line. Vendôme is on the orange line, and this here is on the orange line, Champ de Mars. Really interesting, the sky right now. Still, I would have been happy if we got a bit of thunder and lightning, but nonetheless, pretty impressive seeing that cell coming towards us. Interesting to see the time-lapse version of that. So yeah, here's that park, new park here. Now if we do get precipitation with this, I don't know how long it's going to last, so I may just pause the video if we end up in heavy precipitation and have to take shelter and then resume it once it blows over. So again, I don't know how intense it's going to be, the precipitation. I don't know how long it's going to last either, so far it's not major. So maybe the major precipitation is going to stay out of our area, at least where we're filming. And we got at least the scenic part of it all. So that's the thing, I love filming thunderstorms, I love filming rainstorms, but it's always good when you're not in the rain, because when you have rain, and, it makes it harder to film, it affects the camera. I don't care about the rain, it's getting the phone wet, the camera wet. Even though it's water resistant, it's going to cause clouding within the lens and moisture. So that's why it's nice to have storms where it's close enough that you can see it very well, but far enough away that you're not getting soaked. Alright, let's continue here. I mean, if it stays like this, the precipitation is not too heavy. Like I said, it is rush hour. I don't like to film metro rides during rush hour because it's a bit too chaotic. I don't like the potential for people to give me a hard time, give me a hassle. That's why most of my videos of metro rides and whatnot are usually on weekends and evenings. So there's Champ de Mars metro station. Let's zoom back out again here. I'm sort of feeling confident enough that we can continue the walk. If it was a bit later, I'd probably take a metro ride. And just as I say that the precipitation is not that strong, it is starting to pick up. Yeah, you can see this here. More precipitation coming in this direction. So very scenic display here. I like this one. Even though there was no lightning or thunder associated with it, it creates some aesthetically pleasing clouds. Alright, so you know what, guys? I may just decide to go in the metro. Maybe I'll take it a couple of stops. Yeah, because now the rain is picking up. Like I said, I have an option. I could just pause the video and wait for it to blow over, continue the walking video. But you know what? Well, we'll go in the metro for a bit. Why not? Take it a stop or two. Should be fine. Make you fellow transit fans happy. You know what we'll do? We'll take the no, what should we take? Take the Montmorency direction. Maybe take it to Place d'Armes. Maybe take it one stop to Place d'Armes. I don't know, maybe further, we'll see. If anyone gives me a hassle, I'll just pause the video and resume recording. Set 46. This is what I like to do if I'm filming during rush hour. I just like to go to the windows here and just focus the camera on the ground until we get to the tunnel. Interesting here, looks like there's some major work about to happen. I actually came here the other day and they were filling in that track section with asphalt. There's, what set is that across from us? Set 45. And we're on set 46. Ah, cool. So there we go, we did end up fitting a metro ride in here. Maybe I'll even take it all the way to Lino Brew or something, I don't know. Unlike a live stream, I don't have to worry about keeping up with comments or losing signal.
Station Place d'Armes.
Can't see what set that is. Looks like an earlier set. Set 6. Judging by the creaminess of the lights, you could tell it is indeed an earlier set.
Prochaine station, Square Victoria, AZUR.
So like I said, I'm going to try to film at least an hour worth of video for you guys. Maybe by the time we get to, let's say, Place-Saint-Henri, maybe that precipitation will have moved out of the way.
Station Square Victoria, AZUR.
Now, some of you, my viewers out there, were asking, how do I film metro rides and bus rides in public without, you know, having awkward stares or whatever? Well, I don't care if people stare. That's not an issue to me. I always avoid filming people intentionally. So as you can see here, you know, this is my strategy for, you know, filming at rush hour, for example. You know, filming the tracks. And when the train starts moving again, we can go back up to platform. So there's little techniques and tricks I learn over time to make filming easier. The key is to have fun. Don't even care about what others think. Again, this is all for fun and educational purposes as well. So.
Station Bonaventure.
Could take a REM ride. That's an idea, but save that for another day. So that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to take this to Place-Saint-Henri and then get off at Place-Saint-Henri Metro Station and maybe walk around St. Henry for a bit, the neighborhood surrounding Place-Saint-Henri Metro Station. There's our time right there, 5:41. So yeah, in Montreal, I think rush hour lasts until 7 p.m. officially or unofficially around there.
Prochaine station, Lucien Lallier.
Another thing I do too is if it's a little bit noisy around wherever I'm filming, I relocate somewhere else like that.
Station Lucien Lallier.
Now what's interesting about Lucien Lallier Station, it's been brought up recently in the transit community. Lucien Lallier has, of course, the main exit. This is one of the deepest stations in the Montreal metro system. But if you look, this is the east the east end of the station towards this way. That's where the exit is. It's only one exit. But on the western end of the station, you'll see there is an emergency exit. You'll see it coming up here as we pass by. Right there, so that's an emergency exit, and that exits onto Saint Antoine Street. So I think originally they were supposed to make that into a secondary exit / entrance to the station, but for whatever reason I don't think they completed it. But just based on the design and the layout of that, makes me wonder, was that originally intended to be a secondary entrance point? I don't know. For now, it's an emergency exit.
Station Georges Vanier.
Shout out to Pinhead, he lives around here, Georges Vanier. Little Burgundy neighborhood of Montreal. Until recently, the station never had any buses going by it. Another tip too for you guys out there that are considering starting a YouTube channel or making videos. If you're filming a metro ride, always be mindful of what the window looks like when you're filming. As you can see, there's certain areas of the window here. Certain areas of the window that are hazy. So sometimes you gotta move the camera around until you find a clear spot to film out of. Of course, you always want the clearest of views possible when you're filming metro rides and bus rides and whatnot. There's the tunnel, you may have seen it, that connects to the Green Line. And the Duvernay Maintenance Center, where they store maintenance vehicles and whatnot. Yeah, so I think we'll get off at Place-Saint-Henri. Oh, we got an MR73 over there on the Green Line. A little bit too crowded. I think we'll stay here for now. I'll switch sides. Since the next stop is ours. There's that MR73 over there on the opposite platform. Another thing worth mentioning is, if you notice, Villa Maria and Lino Gru, they have this orange, yellowish color theme to them. That's actually supposed to represent autumn. I think Place-Saint-Henri too has that sort of orange, reddish, yellowish theme.
Station, Place-Saint-Henri.
So if you're wondering why Lino Gru has those colors that are similar to autumn, that's why. It's supposed to represent autumn. Really curious what it's going to look like outside when we get out of the metro system here. Imagine there was some kind of microburst or something that happened while we were in the metro and we get out there and it's pure chaos. It's possible, but probably not likely.
Station, Place-Saint-Henri.
So here's one of my favorite stations, Place-Saint-Henri. You can see again that orange, yellowish type pattern. Another tip for you guys, if you're filming in rush hour or a busy time, let the crowds go by a bit, either pause the video or just focus on something else, as I'm doing here. AZUR set 36 over there. So I can't wait till this work of art is restored. It's supposed to rotate eventually, once again like it used to. So you can see most of the crowd has gone by, so that means it's easier. It's easier and less awkward to film. Looks like we got a pretty significant water leak here, guys, here at Place-Saint-Henri. You guys can see those drops of water coming down. So that means it's raining quite hard outside. It's funny, I've always imagined, when they were designing the station, what if they put like a waterfall or a little water fountain here, which would drain? That would be a cool feature. So we'll take a peek, and if it's raining heavily, as I said, I may just pause the video and wait until the precipitation dies down a bit. What set is that? Can't see. Has that unique sound to it that's becoming more common in the AZUR sets. Some say it sounds like a jet engine, some say it's like a flying saucer. What is the weather outside? I think it's pouring rain. I mean, based on what we just saw there with that water coming through the skylight, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll take the other exit, the newer one here. Listen to that weird sound, eh? So what's interesting is the whole idea here is when the metro goes by, the wind's supposed to rotate this. But originally they did put a motor here. But this motor was never used. This motor was put here and it's supposed to turn constantly. This piece of art, but they never actually turned it on, I guess. Yeah, bless me. Yeah. Allergies so far have been decent this year. Yeah, so as I mentioned, this is the newest entrance exit, one of the newest entrance exits in the Montreal metro system. Yeah, you can see water drops on the floor. Tells me probably it's pouring out. We're gonna find out in about 10 seconds here.
Attention, le préposé à l'entretien de la station Vendôme. Le préposé à l'entretien de la station Vendôme, communiqué.
Yeah, so there's our answer. We do have some, not as heavy as I thought it was, but we do have some rain falling. I wonder if it's light enough to actually walk around safely without compromising the phone. Yeah, so I think it's good enough. Could do a little walk around here. We got about 15 minutes left. I said I would do an hour walking video, so and that's what we'll do. Walk around here for 15 minutes or so. Let's head towards the train tracks. Maybe we'll catch a freight train or passenger train to end the video. This is Notre Dame Street. So just to reorientate ourselves, this is towards the east, more or less. This is the south. That's the west, and this is towards the north. So this is the Saint-Henri neighborhood of Montreal. Very old, working class neighborhood that has been gentrified recently. A lot of, upper class businesses have taken over. People have been squeezed out. So, but still, there's certain sectors that are still preserved, sort of, with that working class vibe, Yeah, we'll take the parking lot here in case we see any trains going by. We can take a peek over the fence with the camera. And if you look way in the distance, we got a bit of clear sky up ahead. And there you can see those autumn colors slowly taking over as another autumn is upon us. There you go. Right on cue. There's an old step van there. This is the main CN tracks, I believe. So we may get a freight train, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just going to film for up to 1 hour because I don't want to get the camera too wet, even though it's not raining too heavy. Could add up over a while, so. Last thing I need is to, have the camera fog up and get moisture in it. Yeah, it doesn't look like any trains are coming now. All the signal lights are red. We'll have to wait and see here. So they can come momentarily. Speaking of weather and climate and all that, apparently the St. Lawrence River is at its lowest level in decades, at least as of last week. So probably went up a little bit since then because of the rain and whatnot, bit of recent rain. It's probably still well below average. What are these? Interesting. Some kind of cabinets maybe, or weird, bizarre. As a look at the sky here, definitely not clear, overcast rain, but it's not like it was earlier in the video where it looked like we were about to get a pretty strong thunderstorm. which never happened. So I think it was thunderstorm or thunder shower further west of here, like towards Ottawa, maybe between Ottawa and here. Probably died out, but still provided some rain. And as I said, pretty scenic display of clouds. Another cool feature, as I mentioned, was the fact that you could feel the cold air mixed with the warm air from that system, that cell moving through. It was years ago here, a couple of old tow trucks. Remember when I first started my channel, one of my earlier walking videos, there would be a couple of tow trucks here, old tow trucks probably from the 70s or 80s. And this, I think it was part of this garage. I don't know if somebody took over this garage. Maybe it's renovated, I don't know. I have to look at my earlier videos to see. It is still a garage. But maybe the guy bought some new tow trucks. Maybe the other ones were getting a bit too old, I don't know. What street are we on, by the way? Not sure. We're coming up to St. Augustine. So 8 minutes left of video. So, you know, even if we don't get a train, hey, at least you'll get to get a bit of a walk here. And you got a metro ride as well, and nice walk around Old Montreal. So not a bad video. I needed one like this. It's been a while since, you know, I really put an hour or so into a video, you know, a mixed video of walking. And I originally planned just to do a walking video, but I think this turned out quite well, actually. I'm happy. So the street that we're just on is Saint-Emile, which is feminine. I think Saint Emily. There goes a cat doing its business. Probably going out for a stroll. Yeah, it looks like we're going to arrive there just in time. I mean, if the precipitation gets a bit worse, I may cut the video till 55 minutes, which is another minute and a half from now, who knows. But pretty decent video length and variety of themes within it. I'd love to get a freight train going by to end the video. That would be a perfect ending. Or even any kind of train, maybe EXO train or via rail train. Yeah, and I think this rain's supposed to last pretty much into the overnight hours. There's the train tracks here. So of course this street here is Rue Saint-Ambroise. Rue Saint-Ambroise. And if you're into rail fanning, train spotting, whatever, you know this is one of the best places to view trains. It's practical and scenic. You have this old building here. We got a light on here, guys. A flashing yellow orange light, so we may get a train. What we could do here is maybe take shelter somewhere nearby, wait for it to come by. I'll pause the video. I think we'll do that, guys. We'll end. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the video, and when the train comes by, I'll resume the video. Yeah, there's our queue. I only waited not even a minute, guys. Lower the gates. I don't know what direction coming from. I don't know what kind of train it is. It's a Via Siemens Charger. Alright, just in time, the rain's picking up. So guys, if you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notification bells. I'm gonna cut the video, it's picking up here, the rain. Nice way to end it. Have a good night, guys. Yeah, man.